everyone, and welcome to Like Mother, Like Murder, your favorite true crime momcast. I am Rachel.
And I am Heather, and each week we bring you mom-related true crime, missing moms to murdered moms, moms who commit the crime, and much, much more. In fact, this week, I think falls in that much, much more category. So we are going to get right into this case today, but then stick around for our afterthoughts, of which I think we will have a lot. And then, if you feel so inclined, you know, we always love a little bit of mom talk, So this case is a bit different today. And before I jump in, I do want to say it does contain mentions of suicide. So just please take care of you. Please take care of you. Take care of yourself when listening to this episode. We were recently contacted by a woman named Jennifer Backstrom. In 2012, she moved with her son from Syracuse to Potsdam, New York. She said, quote, "I wanted to give my son a chance to live. Get out of that violence down there," end quote. This is a sentiment held by parents everywhere, right? How many people have moved their family in order to provide a better life for their children?
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking for a place, you can look up the criminal activity. You can look up which school districts are the safest. You can look up all these different things to make a choice where you want to go, but ultimately make the choice to get out of wherever you were at that you don't want to be anymore.
Exactly. And Jennifer was a really, really great role model for providing a better future for not just her children, but children in general. She had been a resident of the South Side for years, and she fought for her community. She even organized anti-violence demonstrations. She eventually made that move to Potsdam, where she continued to fight for change. So she said, quote, "Because I'm a Black woman, I'm a Black mother, I'm a Black grandmother, and this is something I have to fear every day. Being targeted because of my color, and same for my children." We know that this
isn't the first time we're having this conversation on this podcast.
Exactly. So Jennifer became very vocal in her community, fighting for her community, fighting for children, really going against violence and corruption and racism. And she became vocal, especially about the death of Garrett Phillips, who was a 12-year-old boy from Potsdam. Now, everything I'm about to tell you regarding the murder of Garrett Phillips is alleged. As of right now, no one has been held accountable. Okay? So let's talk a little bit about Garrett Phillips, and then I'll explain how this connects to Jennifer. In 2011, a 12-year-old boy named Garrett Phillips was murdered. Police quickly zeroed in on one of Garrett's mother's ex-boyfriends, who was eventually arrested and tried for second-degree murder. But at the trial, he was acquitted. It turns out that the St. Lawrence County DA, who was responsible for trying the case, they withheld exculpatory evidence that basically was evidence showing that the person they had on trial had a very good reason not to be on trial. And she actually ended up getting her law license suspended as a result of the actions during this trial. Not to mention, there was another suspect. This other suspect was another ex-boyfriend of Garrett's mom, but he was a St. Lawrence County deputy sheriff. He had made some statements that just didn't add up from the day of the murder, and he had had a formal complaint against him by Garrett's mother. And in that complaint, She said that she was worried for the safety of herself and her sons. So when they were first investigating the murder of this 12-year-old boy, there were more than just the one suspect.
Yeah, I was going to say, you just said two, and then one, they're withholding stuff on the other person. And okay.
Yes. So one was one ex-boyfriend who was Black, and when they investigated, they did find exculpatory evidence, but he still went to trial, was acquitted. The DA responsible for this did get her law license suspended. The second man, the other ex-boyfriend, he was white. He was also a St. Lawrence County deputy sheriff.
Right.
And he was never brought to trial. But when they asked him about his whereabouts the day of, there is room for his statements didn't quite make sense. Okay. And there was also Garrett's mother had filed a complaint against him, saying that she was worried for her safety and her sons. Okay. So that is what happened with Garrett Phillips in 2011. Now, this was a long, drawn-out thing. It took years for these trials to happen and for the acquittal. There was a lot of other stuff happening. So back to Jennifer Baxtron, the woman who contacted us. She was fighting for justice in this case for Garrett Phillips. She had even started a change.org petition for Garrett, asking to hold the local authorities accountable for what happened. The fact that the DA withheld exculpatory evidence, the fact that there seemingly was another suspect, and we still don't have justice at this point.
Yeah, so she's just making the push to not let this go cold like all of the other things that we hear about all the time.
Exactly.
Okay, so thank you to Jennifer.
Yes. And she had already been fighting against, a lot of the racism and corruption and these violent attacks on children being the victims. Like, she had already been fighting in her community for this. She took up this case of Garrett. She started the change.org. She was getting loud about it. Jennifer's son, Terron Evans Jr., he was often right there alongside his mom, fighting for justice. So we have mom, Jennifer, fighting for change in her community, getting loud about the murder of this young boy, in which the first suspect zeroed in on while another suspect was almost brushed under the rug.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to see that.
No. So this was all in 2019, 2020. Then in January 2021, Jennifer Baxtron's son, Terron Evans Jr., dies at only 26 years old. He is found deceased in the home of his girlfriend, Crystal Kip Hamilton, and the official cause of death was a heart attack brought on by an overdose of Wellbutrin.
What's Wellbutrin?
Wellbutrin is a prescription antidepressant. And from what I have learned, both Terron and Crystal had prescriptions for this medication.
Okay.
So when they asked the girlfriend, Crystal Kip Hamilton, about what happened, she claimed that when she woke up that morning, she found Terron dead next to her with the empty pill bottles. And she said he must have taken them himself and then laid down in the bed. After originally being denied reports from the police, Jennifer filed for freedom of information for the death of her son. She wanted to get more information. And she was given some materials, not a lot, but some. Terron's autopsy showed no pills in his stomach. There was also no pill residue found in his mouth or signs of vomiting. There's no pills in his stomach. There's no vomit. Where is this coming from? There's not any residue of pills in his mouth. But the toxicity report did say there was a lethal dose of the Wellbutrin. But where's it coming from if there's no evidence of pills?
I don't know. I'm trying to wrap my head around how there could even be that possibility.
It doesn't track, right? It doesn't track for sure. Then, the same day that Terron died, the St. Lawrence County Chief ADA resigns. And later, an officer who had responded to the scene, and this particular officer who had responded to the scene the day that Terron was found dead, this is the officer whose body cam footage, although heavily redacted, was sent to Jennifer. He also resigns. According to Jennifer's research into this already really suspicious circumstance, right? We haven't even been talking about this for that long, but there's just so many things that don't add up already. The other thing that she found was that the sheriff's department opened a file on her son's death 8 hours before his death.
I just feel like there's so much in my brain that is not adding up whatsoever.
Because it doesn't, Rachel.
Who is Crystal? Who is Crystal? Like, I know that's his girlfriend, but like,
I will talk to that because, right, this doesn't make any sense. I will tell you about Crystal.
How do you open a freaking file on somebody beforehand? Before it was reported?
Before it was like, even, so it's before his death or even before the 911 call.
8 hours before the 911 call?
So if yeah.
Freaking
this doesn't make any sense. Like, was someone at the police department
like, I'm listening? It probably sounds like I'm not listening to a word you're saying right now. I'm listening,
what it sounds
and this is
like
just blowing
is
my
exactly
mind
what
right
everyone's
now.
thinking.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
What?
Following. Yeah.
So Jennifer strongly believes that because she is an outspoken voice in the community, especially as related to the murder of 12-year-old Garrett Phillips and the corruption in the St. Lawrence County case, and which was a St. Lawrence County case, that her son, Terron Evans Jr., was targeted and killed. Jennifer has fought for years to be an advocate for her community, especially for how this violence and corruption impacts children. She's been fighting to fix these things in New York, and now she's having to continue that fight for her own child. Jennifer, in her research, also found and was told that Crystal is a police informant. This just goes further to strengthen her suspicion that this was not a suicide.
Right.
All of
Targeted,
the suspicious
inside job, all the things.
Mm-hmm. All of the suspicious circumstances regarding her son's death already puts a red flag on it. And then you add that to the fact that Jennifer has been getting loud about the corruption in St. Lawrence County Sheriff. And then she finds out that Crystal was a police informant. You put that all together,
right?
And it really points towards a very scary, but
absolutely
possible reason that this happened to her son. So, unfortunately, this is where it stands.
No.
So Terron was killed in 2021.
2021. He was 26 years old.
He was 26 years old.
Did they live together? Was it just the two of them living together type thing? Or?
So I actually do not know if they were living together, but he was definitely at her house. And she actually had there were other people there. They interviewed her. Her son was also there. And there were other people. I think that they had a party the night before, from what I understand. And so there was all of this stuff. And of course, Jennifer has been asking questions like, I want to talk to the people that were there the night before. If this was a suicide, where is the suicide note? And there's all these allegations that Crystal says, oh, I saw one, but it got deleted or something like that, like a Facebook post. There's all of these things that just are very don't make sense.
Nothing gets deleted.
It doesn't make any sense, right? And the problem here is, though, that the people who would be responsible for looking into this case are the same people that Jennifer
don't like that she's raising her voice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I will be posting all of the sources in the show notes. When Jennifer reached out to us, she gave us some sources. Jennifer also has documented a lot of these things. But please be aware right now of two things that I want to especially draw attention to. First, there is a change.org page for Justice for Garrett Phillips. Like I said, Jennifer started this page. And she started this page trying to figure this out because there still is no justice for Garrett Phillips. This 12-year-old boy who was brutally murdered in his own home.
Yeah.
There is still nobody held accountable.
It's crazy.
There is also a change.org petition and a GoFundMe page for justice for Terron Evans Jr., Jennifer's son. Because at this point in time, they opened the case about his death and then closed the case saying it was a suicide, ruled it a suicide. But when you look at all the other things that are going on, at the very least, this case needs to be reopened and reexamined. There's too many things going on.
Do you know? I kind of regret bringing this up on the podcast. Do you know anyone in your life, friendship, family, all this stuff? Are you specifically a police informant?
Do I know anyone who's
Do you know anyone
No.
who's been a police informant?
No.
Neither do I. I'm curious, like, if you guys are listening right now, is this common? Are they just everywhere? And I'm sure, I mean, not that we would know. Most of the time you're not going to know. I understand that.
This
but
is
it's
a great
just not
question.
something that I know, not anyone I've known of.
And I'll tell you why.
In and out of jail. I've had
Yes.
family in and out of a bunch of different stuff. So
Same.
I'm aware that you utilize people.
Right.
But this just makes it even crazier for
Right.
this family to know that, oh, you happen to be next to a police informant that's your girlfriend when your mom is fighting the freaking fight everyone needs to be fighting for justice. Are you freaking kidding me?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's very, I mean, it seems like there's two probable possibilities here, right? A, they met, they liked each other. It's a Romeo and Juliet situation, right? She's a police informant. He's an activist.
Coincidentally was a police. Okay.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
Or the other possibility is that this was planted, like she was planted. And this is all possibility. I'm not saying
this is speculation.
Like,
we know
this
nothing.
Is all speculation. This is all alleged. But
right.
that she was planted. And the thing is, a lot of times people are police informants because they have something to lose, right? You just don't become a police informant out of like the goodness of your own heart. A lot of times it's you've been brought in on some charges. The police know you do something bad. You're struggling for this, that, and the other. And they say, and we see this all the time in like court,
right.
Jailhouse informants.
For sure.
If you can get us this information, if you can blah, 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 there will be a reward of we'll keep you out of jail. We won't charge you for this. We'll lessen your charges. What have you? And there is evidence that Jennifer has been given that says that this was the case with the girlfriends. So
Wow. Okay. Don't like that. Yeah, so Jennifer, she reached out to us on TikTok, and there's just so much more that she's trying to do to figure out and to, fight for answers for her son. And it's very evident that she's not only fighting for her son, she's fighting for everyone.
It's such a large, she's already been fighting for this larger picture. Right. And now someone, like, they've pulled her son into this. Yeah. So she's even more doubled down now. She has to be, right? She was already fighting tooth and nail for justice for her community, and now even more so. Wow. And Jesus. It's rough. It's very rough. So now that we're officially in afterthoughts, I know we were already kind of giving some. One thing that really struck me, and this is almost like mom talk too, is when Jennifer reached out to us, she had linked some other articles just kind of documenting the work she's done both in Syracuse and in Potsdam before they moved to Potsdam. And she was quoted, throughout these articles whenever they talked to her. And it was just heartbreaking because she's like, I moved to Potsdam because basically back in Syracuse, there were shootings every day. I was scared for myself and my children. And Terron isn't even her only child. She has a daughter too. And so it's really hard because she was already fighting for a better community in Syracuse. They moved to Potsdam. She's continuing to fight for a better community there, but it's still, she sees it as a little bit safer than where she was before. And then this happens, and I think that it's just crazy that you go from one place to a place that you think is better, and you're continuing to fight to make it better. And, Jennifer's suspicion is that the people that are there to make it better are the ones that are making it worse, which that's nothing new. We've seen this before. We've seen police, whether purposefully or not purposefully, mess something up. But it is just so suspicious when the thing you're getting loud about is corruption in this specific sheriff's department, and then that is the same sheriff's department who would be responsible for looking into his death. And so it's okay, like when I think both of us had the same reaction when we were reading her messages, is like, yeah, that's suspicious. Yeah, that's suspicious. But everything kind of has that whole getting back to reasonable doubt. But that could be explained by this. That could be explained by that. But then when she put in the thing that said a report was opened 8 hours before, no. Right. How do you explain it? You don't explain that. Like, you cannot.
The report being opened 8 hours before, and the people quitting or,
my gosh, the
resigning right then and there too. It's like that also, of course, people quit, resign, whatever, retire all the time. And maybe it was their time. But to know that it's specific to, the officer whose body cam the footage, redacted part, you know what I mean, was given. So it's just one of those things that makes you question. And then it also makes you question, okay, but then why are you not doing more? Yeah. And I'm sure we know the answer to that, but I'm also positive because, there are corrupt people in any position anywhere, but there are the good guys, and there are a lot of them. So we need those good guys, those ones who actually want to make things better and do the right thing, to step up right now and do the right thing.
Yeah.
And it's I know you want to have your offices back, and you want to, I don't even know the right terminology, like bleed blue, these are my brothers, I'm always gonna be this way, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
it
right
doesn't matter that he's a suspect in this killing, and there's plenty of reason for him to be a suspect. And that's what's so crazy, is what's hard is I have to just believe, for my own personal mental well-being, is that there are good people everywhere, and including in the St. Lawrence County Sheriff. But the problem is that those good people aren't at the top, and do what you may to try to fight something, but then if you are not the person in power, your voice either goes nowhere or you get gone. Like, you're getting put somewhere else. And that was another one you mentioned retired, and that jogged my memory. So he was the lead detective, I believe, in the St. Lawrence County Sheriff. And after he closed the case on Jennifer's son and ruled it suicide, case closed, he also retired. Now, granted, I looked it up, like a bunch of people were retiring at this time. He had 20 or 22 years, and so okay. But again, this is just the kind of thing. This is just like any one of these, and we've recently talked about this, right? Any one of these things in a vacuum, in and of itself, okay. But when you start putting all of these things together, it just really, really makes, I mean, even just someone who's not super suspicious or who's not super critical would be like, because it's just like one too many things. To me, they picked the wrong one. They messed with the wrong woman, because you know that she's already a freaking fighter. She's been fighting for her community nonstop for decades. So this is not going to make her go away. Like, this is only going to make her get louder. Right. More power to you, right? The other thing that I feel like we may want to do is really look into this Garrett Phillips case. Mm-hmm. There's so much going on, and it's so crazy because this mom, so she had, from what I started reading into this, and I'll post some of the articles that I found regarding Garrett Phillips, but the way that I understood it is his mom had dated the sheriff. They broke up. Then she started dating, and he was actually, I think, like a local college soccer coach, started dating him. They broke up. And while she was dating the soccer coach, the sheriff and her, that's when she filed a complaint against the sheriff, because she was like, I'm worried about the safety of my children and myself. And when you read the articles, especially when you read anything written by the DA at the time who was responsible for trying the case, they say, oh no, the sheriff had this airtight alibi. He was a suspect, and we were able to get him off of the suspect list because of this, that, and the other. But then I found an article of trial when he was on the stand, and the defense is questioning him. And granted, the defense's job is to make it look like this guy has something to hide, is not a reliable witness, something. Yep. But the way that he was saying things, and this reminds me a lot of how cops tend to answer stuff, very just, well, you can't see me in that, but I was there. This camera wouldn't be able to tell that, but I was, kind of thing. And it's just so suspicious. And the other thing that I didn't mention during this, because I wasn't trying to get too deep into the case of Garrett Phillips, but we might need to, this is all related, is part of the exculpatory evidence was they didn't find fingerprints at the scene. They didn't find DNA or anything. So they were all believing that, the person wore gloves. But they didn't bring this up. The defense had to dig into this. And that DA, I think I read that she lost her license because of what she was doing. And she had ran on, I'm going to get justice for Garrett Phillips. I'm going to get justice for Garrett Phillips. So That was her goal, and
Yeah.
she stuck to it, even if it meant that the wrong person was on trial.
Gotcha.
So that's another case that I think I was reading it and my jaw was on the ground. And no wonder Jennifer would take up this as a cause, because this case, I mean, even when she was working, like when she was starting the change.org and when she was doing all this was still already, the case was unsolved. And to this day, it's still, no one has been held accountable. So she was taking this up, and especially with all of the fact that the DA got license suspended, the fact that there was a sheriff as a suspect, that kind of looking at it, he should have remained a suspect. That's all very corrupt, not good. And this is part of her fight.
When you were talking about the different things and how if it's just this one situation or, whatever. But the thing is you have to, that's her job. That is her position right now as a mother fighting for answers, is to, and I mean, obviously there's people who are paid to be doing this job, but because they are not doing that job, is what I mean when it comes to her job, to pick apart and prove
question
or disprove or
100%.
Question every single thing. And that means when we're looking at this, we can't just give benefit of the doubt every single time. We can't just, maybe they were there because of this, or maybe this happened because of this. Of course, maybe it did, but guess what? Maybe it didn't.
Exactly.
I just almost knocked over my water.
But what you're saying, Rachel, is such a critical process, literally critical thinking about this. This is something that I fear a lot of people just do not have, this critical thinking process. I remember teaching a course for college freshmen, so these 18 years old, a lot of times, sometimes they were older coming back to school, but it was literally called critical thinking. And one of the first lessons is you question it. What facts do you have? What evidence do you have? You can't just watch a commercial that claims if you take this pill, you'll magically, lose 50 pounds. It's like, where's your evidence? What studies have been done? What are the side effects? These are things you need to question. As a human being, you can't just take people's word for it. And when whatever entity has a history of corrupt behavior, then you want to question that more. You've lost my trust. Now I really need to see the evidence. I'm not going to just give you benefit of the doubt now, because I tried that and I got burned.
Right. Exactly.
And this is something that is so, so, so important. And when you're dealing with, and we do this kind of stuff all the time, right? We're constantly playing devil's advocate. We're constantly bringing in like, what's the reasonable doubt here? And so, ask for that evidence. There's nothing. And the fact that she asked for it, she wasn't given stuff. She had to file freedom of information. She was given a snippet. She then had to get named as basically, I don't know the exact terminology, but acting on his behalf, like I am the recipient of his like I'm closest of kin, so I'm entitled to all of this stuff. She had to make sure that was filed before they'd give her anything. And it's just crazy to me, because this is the truth. If you have nothing to hide, if in fact this was a suicide and all of the evidence points to suicide, give it up.
Yeah, exactly. What do you not want? What do you not want shown?
Exactly.
When you were talking a minute ago, one of the things I wanted to add, we're not professionals in this space. We're not trained. We haven't gone to school. We're not private detectives. We're not law enforcement. We're not any of these things, right? We have this podcast. It is a platform where we share these conversations on any of the mom-related content. We say it every single time we open an episode, right? But the thing is like, we're having this conversation for a reason. We're bringing these cases and these horrific things, in this case, because we were asked to do so, and it's to like legit strike this conversation that needs to be had, because this is not something that is solo
right
to Jennifer and her life, and only she has experienced this.
Right.
This happens too often. And that can't continue to happen. Like, there has to be accountability. There has to be, and that's, you know, everything we brought today, everything Heather shared, there's all the different stuff that will be in the show notes that you guys can go read. You can go check out. You can follow the page that Jennifer is actively seeking justice for her son and trying to make a change and trying to get the answers that she very well deserves. And it's one of those things where it is closed. They're not still looking into it. It is not active right now. And based on the things that I have seen and that you have just told me, it very well should be open. Right. So how do we make that change right now?
Right.
We follow her. We see what she's doing. We back her.
You check out the change.orgs and the GoFundMe that are posted in the show notes right now. And you go. And this is the thing. I'm not telling you either. You know, when Jennifer sent the information to us, we're not just, okay, let me just copy paste what Jennifer said and sticking it in a script and reading that out. No. We do our due diligence too, the same way that Jennifer did. I'm looking up the trial and seeing that Jennifer didn't include the details of that in the messages that she sent us, but I can find an article online where they detail out what this sheriff's answers were to what he was doing that day and why he might have been on this camera at that time and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, to me, that raises a good point. I'm looking into the case of Garrett Phillips and seeing that, wow, yeah, the ADA did get her license suspended. Yep, that guy did retire after the case was closed. You know, things like this. And so I'm telling you, this is why we put the show notes in. Go check it for yourself. Go do your due diligence and look into the information, because again, I'm bringing up this critical thinking. That's all of our responsibilities. We all have to be critical thinkers in this situation.
Absolutely. I did want to say the TikTok page that she is actively running is called We Are Seeking Justice. And so that will also be in the show notes.
Yes.
But we encourage you to go check it out and use your brains.
Use your brains, basically.
I think, too many people think they don't have to use their brains with things, And
I think that's
or they've been taught to just be silent and
that's
to just
what I
go with what is being told. And listen, there is a way to do things. There is a way to ask questions, and there is a way to stand up for yourself, and there is a way to question all the different things, right? Sometimes that means you gotta get really fucking loud. Sometimes that means you gotta write a letter to whoever the hell is in charge. Sometimes that means you have to rally up and get every single person in support to help you make that change. But if you just sit in silence, nothing is gonna get done. So
it's so funny that you say this, and this may be the perfect segue into mom talk, because my daughter is 6. A lot of what comes out out of her mouth these days is, Mom, why da 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 da, why da 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 da, why da da da. And as a mother, as a parent, any parent listening, you know that those times when you're just trying to have a silent car ride to the next practice you gotta go to the grocery store, wherever you gotta go, the last thing you want to do is answer these questions for your child. But I have to try to remind myself, I'm glad she's asking questions. I want her to question things. I want her to be like, I want her to observe the world and not take it at face value because there's so much going on underneath. And so I have to remind myself in those moments, be proud that she's a critical thinker. Be proud that she's thinking about this and questioning it. And it's true. What you said rings so true. There's been a lot of people who were raised just being told, this is exactly what I said. You can't question why. Take it for what it is. Right? And I am one of the ones that when they said, well, why do I have to do this? Because I said so. I don't have the time or the patience right now.
Well, sometimes that's the answer. Sometimes that is the answer. 100%. And sometimes it's not.
Like, why do I have to go to bed right now? I do not have the patience to explain to you for the 50th time that we go to bed so we can wake up refreshed, so we can have like a productive day. Nah. Because I freaking said so. Just go. Right. Because this is what we do. Just go. And so it's so
and there's a
hard.
difference between questioning something and constantly talking back and not listening and being defiant. Again, there are differences in these things, and you need to know the right and the wrong way to do these things.
Exactly. But that's the thing, as parents, we want to foster that healthy curiosity.
Right. Yeah.
That's one of Evie's favorite words now is curious. I'm like Curious George. I just want to know, which is great. We want to foster that curiosity. We want to foster that critical thinking. We want them to look at something and say like, well, why does it happen this way? And that's great. But as a parent, sometimes I know it's hard to just be like,
Yes, absolutely do. Well, I'm really glad that you went into that and you brought the information, shared about both, but just hopefully, if anyone listening right now, if you're taking something away from today's episode, is go click every single link that Heather is going to put in these show notes. There's a lot of them. There is a lot of them, okay? Go click them. Look into it for yourself.
Yeah.
And make sure that you are being open and able to, think for yourself.
100%. Look at those. And if when you're reading something, you'll be like, hey, wait, red flag. Or you'll be like, oh, I see. But also, These are the things that we should be doing all the time. And these are the things that Jennifer saw and was like, red flag. And when I read them, same. So like Rachel said, I am confident. I'm putting it out in the universe. I'm manifesting that this will not be the last time we are talking about Jennifer or her son Terron, and we will continue to provide coverage. Go check out thechange.org so that we can make sure that justice is served, because you have to realize too, this is bigger than just, like Rachel said, this is bigger than just him. This is bigger than just Jennifer and Terron, and this is indicative of a systemic issue that's going on, probably not only in the St. Lawrence County Sheriff's Department, but we see this a lot. So we got to do what we got to do to make sure people are safe, communities are safe, and the right people are doing the right thing. So yes, like absolutely. Rachel said, go check this out. And we will be back with more updates, I hope very soon, related to this case. But other than that, we'll be back next week with more of your favorite Momcast. Until then, just critically think out there, people. We just got to keep our brains open, and it's healthy to be curious.
Yeah, definitely. And also, if, Jennifer reached out to us, and I'm sure she's at that point where she's reaching out to anyone and everyone that is willing to help share and to be a voice and to reach anyone and everyone who is able to listen. And so if you guys have something, if it's personal to you and you have something that you need shared, reach out to us. If it's something that you're just like, you know what, I heard about this and it's driving me crazy, can you look into this? Reach out to us. We try to do our very best to just bring what is known, what is factual, what is, you know, the details of the case at the beginning. And then we tell you what we really think at the end. Okay?
You know, that's how we do.
Because we have that too. And we make it very clear. You don't have to agree with us. You know what I mean? We bring you the information, then we talk about it a little bit. Okay? But if you guys are looking for more awareness, more just reach, we try to do our very best in any of those mom-related cases. All right? So that is that. We will talk to you guys next Tuesday. Great job, Heather.
Thank you.
I love when I get to listen to anything you have to say. We will talk to you guys next week. Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, I love you. Bye.